What if the most dangerous warning your body can give you doesn't feel like pain at all? We're taught to watch for crushing chest pain or a blinding headache, but a groundbreaking 2024 Stanford analysis of over 50,000 patient records found something startling. For nearly 40% of people who suffered a life-threatening blockage in their lungs, the very first sign, days or even weeks earlier, was a quiet, painless, easily ignored change in one of their legs. One leg. Think about that. A silent clue that most people dismiss as nothing. Ignoring this whisper can lead to a sudden, catastrophic medical emergency. But learning to hear it, truly understand what it means, that gives you the power to sidestep the danger entirely. It's the difference between being a victim of circumstance and the vigilant guardian of your own health. And the single most important action to take, the two simple words to say to a medical professional that can cut through all the noise, I'm going to save for the very end. You ever take your socks off at the end of the day and the elastic has left a much deeper line on one ankle? Just a more pronounced, angrier looking groove pressed into your skin than on the other side. Or maybe you stand up from your favorite recliner after a movie and notice one calf feels full. Not just tired, but strangely tight and dense, almost like someone secretly inflated it with a little bit of air while you weren't paying attention. These aren't just random quirks. We are absolute masters at ignoring these little asymmetries. Our brains instantly generate 1,000 perfectly logical reasons. The socks must have twisted in the wash. We sat with our legs crossed for too long. It's just the humidity making things swell up a bit. We explain it all away because it seems so small, so utterly insignificant in a day filled with bigger appointments and louder concerns. A dear friend of mine blamed a brand new pair of walking shoes for 3 solid weeks, absolutely convinced the persistent ache in his right calf was just his foot getting used to a different arch support. He was busy planning a trip, he had things to do, and a nagging calf ache was just background noise he didn't have time for. But these tiny oddities, these little asymmetries between the left and right sides of your body, are sometimes the quietest, most urgent whisper you will ever receive. It's your body gently tapping you on the shoulder, trying its best to get your attention before it has to resort to shouting with a siren. This isn't about becoming a hypochondriac. It's about learning the specific language your body uses to signal a specific problem. It's about becoming a better listener. Try the next time you take your shoes and socks off, just take an extra 5 seconds. Sit on the edge of your bed and place both feet flat on the floor in front of you. Glance at both of your feet, your ankles, your shins. Don't poke or prod them. Just be an impartial observer. Is one a little puffier than the other? Does the skin on one look a bit shinier or tighter? Is there a subtle difference in color? Just observe what's there without judgment or explanation. Section 2. The traffic jam in your vein. Let's forget all the complicated medical terminology for a moment. Words like thrombosis and embolism just create a wall of confusion. Instead, think of the deep veins buried inside your muscles as massive, multi-lane superhighways. Your red blood cells are the cars, zipping along 24/7, delivering life-giving oxygen and nutrients to every last cell. When everything's working right, it's a beautiful, efficient system. Traffic flows smoothly, everyone gets where they're going on time, no delays, no problems. But sometimes, for a variety of reasons we'll get into, a major traffic jam forms, a real pileup. And this isn't a minor fender bender on a little surface road you can see through your skin like a spider vein. This is a major multi-car blockage on a deep, hidden superhighway buried right inside the thick muscle of your calf or thigh. That pileup, that roadblock of clumped together blood cells, is what doctors call a deep vein thrombosis, or DVT. Instantly, that jam causes a colossal backup. Every single blood cell that was supposed to cruise through that section of the highway now has nowhere to go. They're stuck. The fluid part of the blood, the plasma, starts to get squeezed out of the vein by the mounting pressure, seeping into the surrounding muscle and tissue. That pooling, that fluid backup, is the swelling you see and feel. The immense pressure from all those cars stuck in one place creates that strange, full, tight feeling. In response to the blockage and the leakage, your body's immune system dispatches inflammatory signals to the area. Think of them as tiny tow trucks and emergency crews, which generates heat. It's a simple plumbing problem, but it's happening in a very, very important pipe that's hidden from view. Try. Go to your kitchen sink and turn on the faucet to a steady stream. Now, place the palm of your hand over the drain, not blocking it completely, but just partially restricting the flow. Watch how quickly the water level rises and starts to pool in the basin. That water is the plasma, and that basin is your lower leg. That's exactly the mechanical process happening inside you. Section 3, why now? The after 60 triggers. Let's be very clear. This has nothing to do with the number 60 itself. You don't cross a magical finish line on your birthday and suddenly unlock this new risk. It's about the changing landscape of our lives, which so often shifts around this time. Our circumstances change, our bodies change, and those shifts are what we need to watch with a bit more awareness. They are the catalysts. Maybe you just had a knee replacement, a hip surgery, or any procedure that put you on your back for a bit. This creates a perfect storm. The surgery itself, the body's response to the trauma, can make the blood a little stickier and more prone to clotting. This is a known physiological response studied for decades. Then you combine that with the recovery period, where you're not moving much. That prolonged stillness is when the traffic in your leg veins slows from a highway rush to a sleepy country lane. My neighbor, after his hip surgery, was a model patient, doing all his exercises, but he still spent the bulk of 2 weeks in his recliner with his leg propped up. That stillness, however necessary for healing the joint, is the prime opportunity for a blood traffic jam to begin forming. Or perhaps you finally took that long-awaited flight to see the grandkids in another state. Or you drove for 8 hours to attend a family reunion. Sitting still for hours in a cramped space, a car, a plane, with your knees bent at a 90-degree angle is a major, major trigger recognized by institutions like the CDC. The highway in your leg gets a significant kink in it right behind the knee, dramatically slowing down the flow. Even something as simple and common as a nasty bout of the flu or pneumonia that keeps you in bed for 3 or 4 days can be enough to set the stage. Our circulation naturally becomes a little less vigorous as we age, but it's these specific events, these extended periods of being still, that can dangerously tip the scales. Try this. If you've been sitting for a while, whether you're reading, working on a puzzle, or watching a show, set a quiet timer on your phone for 60 minutes. When it goes off, just interrupt yourself to stand up. March in place for 10 seconds. Then sit back down. Think of it as hitting the reset button on your circulation, a tiny action with a powerful preventative effect. Section 4, the one-leg rule. Swelling that's different. This is it. If you remember nothing else, remember this. This is the single biggest, most reliable clue your body can give you. Pay close attention. This is not the kind of general, mild puffiness you might get in both feet after a long, hot day of walking around a street festival or working in the garden. That's usually just gravity and fluid dynamics at play, and it's almost always symmetrical. Both feet, both ankles, looking and feeling pretty much the same. The absolute hallmark of this kind of problem is that it is almost always unilateral, one-sided. It picks a leg, the left calf or the right shin, but not both equally. Your right calf might look and feel like a tightly packed sausage, while your left one looks completely normal and feels soft. The logic is simple. If you had a major traffic jam on the northbound side of the highway, it wouldn't affect the southbound traffic at all. The clot is in one specific vein in one specific leg. Johns Hopkins Medicine emphasizes this one-sidedness as a key diagnostic indicator for patients to watch for. Look closely at the skin over the swollen area. It might look a little shiny or stretched taut like the skin of a drum. And when you press on it, it often feels surprisingly firm and dense, not soft and squishy like typical water retention from a high-salt meal. Stand in front of a full-length mirror and compare your calves side by side. Does one look visibly larger or have a different shape? If you're not sure, don't guess. Use a simple, flexible sewing tape measure and check the circumference at the widest part of both calves. Sometimes the difference is only half an inch, but it's real, it's measurable, and it's a powerful clue. Try this. Gently press your thumb firmly into the skin over your shin bone for 5 seconds. When you lift it, look at the little white indented leaves. See how fast the color and shape return to normal? Now do the exact same thing with the same pressure on the other leg. Is there any difference in how deep the indent is or how long it takes to vanish? A deeper pit that lasts longer is a sign of what's called pitting edema and warrants attention. Section 5, the telltale heat. This is the other critical sign that you can physically feel, and it's just as important as the swelling. You don't need a thermometer or any special equipment to detect it. You have the perfect, highly sensitive tool built right into your own body. Use the back of your hand. For complex neurological reasons, the skin there is far more sensitive to subtle temperature changes than the thicker skin on your palm or fingertips. Place the back of your hand flat against the calf that feels tight or swollen. Let it rest there for a couple of seconds to get a good reading. Then, immediately move that same hand and place it on the exact same spot on your other normal-feeling calf. The difference can be startling. This isn't usually a subtle is it or isn't it feeling. It can feel like one leg has been sitting under a heating blanket while the other was in an air-conditioned room. As we discussed, a clot generates a powerful inflammatory response. Your body rushes immune cells to the site of the blockage. This process, which medical research calls the inflammatory cascade, releases chemicals that dilate blood vessels and create localized heat. It's like a tiny invisible furnace is running deep under your skin in that one specific area. While you're looking, check the color again. In that same warm area, is there a splotchy, reddish, or pinkish tone, almost like a faint sunburn? In some cases, it can even look a little purplish or bluish, a condition called cyanosis, which is the backed up, deoxygenated traffic jam of blood becoming visible through the surface. Try. Close your eyes for a moment to heighten your sense of touch. Use the back of your hand to feel the temperature of your own forehead, then your neck, then your forearm. Get a feel for the normal, subtle temperature variations across your own body. This simple act of calibration makes it much easier to spot a truly abnormal hotspot if one ever develops. Section 6. It's not always a sharp pain. Our minds have been trained by decades of television and movies to expect a dramatic, sharp, stabbing pain when something is seriously wrong. We think of a heart attack as a sudden, crushing chest pain, or a broken bone as a blinding flash of agony. So when the sensation from a clot shows up, we often dismiss it because it doesn't fit that dramatic pre-written script. We think it can't be serious because it doesn't hurt that much. The real and far more common feeling is much sneakier and more ambiguous. It's often a persistent, deep, throbbing ache. It can feel remarkably like a Charlie horse that just won't quit, no matter how much you try to stretch it or walk it off. You might assume it's a pulled muscle, but when you retrace your steps over the last few days, you can't remember doing anything to actually pull it. You haven't been gardening all day or lifting heavy boxes or starting a new exercise class. The ache just showed up without an invitation or an explanation. And here's another huge clue that medical professionals listen for. The feeling is often much worse when you're standing up and putting weight on the leg, and it eases up significantly when you lie down and elevate your leg above your heart. Why? Gravity. When you stand, gravity helps pool the backed up blood, increasing the pressure in the ache. When you elevate it, you give that trapped fluid an easier path to drain away, temporarily relieving the pressure. A regular muscle cramp or strain doesn't usually care that much what position you're in. That distinct change with position is your body screaming that this is a plumbing and pressure problem, not a simple muscle problem. Try. Lie down on your back on the floor or a firm bed. Prop the leg that feels achy up on a couple of pillows so your foot is comfortably higher than your hip. Just rest there for 2 or 3 minutes. Pay close attention. Does that feeling of fullness, tightness, or deep aching change? Does it lessen even a little bit? That's not a coincidence. It's valuable diagnostic information. Section 7. The real danger when the jam breaks free. So why all the urgency? Why is this different from a sprained ankle where the advice is to wait and see? Why can't you just wait a few days and see if this leg thing gets better on its own? Because that traffic jam in your leg vein is not a stable structure. Think of it less like a solid brick wall and more like a fragile pile of rubble held loosely together in a fast-moving river. At any moment, a piece of that clot or the entire thing can break free from the pileup. It gets instantly swept away into the fast-moving current of the bloodstream. It's now no longer a DVT, but what doctors call an embolus, a dangerous object traveling in the bloodstream. It travels up through the bigger veins, passes through the chambers of your heart, and then gets forcefully pumped out toward your lungs. The highways in the lungs are very different from the ones in the legs. They start big and then branch out into a network of tiny, tiny little vessels called capillaries to exchange oxygen. And that piece of the clot which had no trouble navigating the big veins eventually gets to a vessel it's too big to pass through. It gets wedged in like a cork in a bottle, instantly blocking all blood flow to that entire section of the lung. This is a pulmonary embolism, and it is a genuine life and death emergency. The signs of this are completely different from the leg symptoms, which might have even disappeared by this point. It's often a sudden, shocking shortness of breath that comes out of nowhere. You could just be sitting and reading a book, and suddenly you feel like you're gasping and can't get enough air. You might get a sharp, stabbing pain in your chest, particularly when you try to take a deep breath. You could feel intensely lightheaded or dizzy, like you're about to faint, or your heart might start racing for no reason. Knowing about the preceding leg issue is the critical puzzle piece that allows you and your doctor to connect the dots instantly and understand the extreme urgency of the situation. Try. Take a slow, deep breath right now, all the way in. Feel the air fill your lungs from the bottom to the top. Notice how your chest expands easily without any pain or restriction. Now exhale slowly. Knowing what your normal, easy, pain-free breathing feels like provides a powerful baseline for recognizing when something is suddenly, terribly wrong. Section 8. Common lookalikes. Now, could this combination of swelling, warmth, and aching in your leg be something else entirely? Absolutely. And knowing what else is out there is incredibly helpful, not so you can try to diagnose yourself using the internet, but so you understand precisely why getting a professional opinion is the only safe and logical move. The symptoms overlap, and telling them apart requires training and tools. A simple muscle strain feels very similar, but it usually has a clear cause and effect. The ache shows up right after you've been physically active. That long walk on the beach and soft sand, helping your son move a heavy couch, or trying that new yoga pose you saw on TV. A Baker's cyst is a fluid-filled sac that can form behind your knee, causing swelling, tightness, and an ache down your calf. but it often feels like a distinct water-filled balloon that you can actually feel right in the crease of your knee, and the swelling is most prominent there. A skin infection, medically known as cellulitis, is another great imposter. It causes redness, swelling, and warmth. But cellulitis usually starts with a break in the skin, a small cut from shaving, an insect bite you scratched too much, even a tiny scratch from the cat that allowed bacteria to get in. It also very often comes with systemic signs like a fever or chills, which a clot does not. My friend got a nasty red, warm, swollen patch on his shin after getting scraped by a rose bush while gardening. That's a classic skin infection. The symptoms of all these conditions overlap, and that's precisely why you don't guess. You get it checked by someone who can tell the difference with certainty. Try. Take a good look at your lower legs right now in good light. Become familiar with their normal landscape. Note any old scars, prominent varicose veins, sunspots, or birthmarks. Being intimately familiar with the normal everyday appearance of your own skin helps you spot what's new, what's different, and what's changed much more easily and reliably. Section 9. Simple moves to keep the traffic flowing. The best way to deal with a highway traffic jam is to prevent it from ever forming in the first place. This isn't about starting some grueling new marathon training. It's about weaving small, consistent, almost effortless movements into your day that remind your blood to keep moving and not get stagnant in your lower legs. This is about creating an environment where clots are unwelcome. When you're sitting for any length of time, think ankles. Every time a commercial comes on the TV or every time you finish a chapter in your book, just do 10 ankle pumps. With your heel on the floor, press your foot down like you're hitting a gas pedal, then pull your toes all the way up towards your shins. Feel that little squeeze in your calf muscle? That muscular contraction is manually squeezing the deep veins and actively pushing the blood up and out of your lower legs, fighting the effects of gravity. A study in the Journal of Vascular Surgery showed this simple exercise can increase blood flow velocity in the legs by over 150%. Also, stay hydrated. Drinking plain water helps keep your blood from getting too thick and sluggish. Think of it as ensuring the oil in your body's engine is the right consistency. My uncle keeps a big water bottle by his favorite chair and sips from it all day, not because he's always thirsty, but as a conscious habit to keep things flowing smoothly. Try. While sitting in a chair, lift one foot just slightly off the floor. Gently and slowly trace the letters of the alphabet in the air with your big toe from A to Z. Then switch and do it with the other foot. It's a simple, surprisingly powerful circulation booster that engages all the small muscles in your lower leg. Talk to your clinician if you have heart, balance, or joint issues. Stop if you feel any pain. Section 10. Your two-step action plan. If you are experiencing that specific, potent combination of one-sided swelling, distinct warmth, and a persistent ache in your leg, there is no step 3. There is no wait and see. There are only 2 simple, immediate steps. And what you don't do is just as important as what you do. Step 1. Do not, under any circumstances, massage the leg. This is critical. Don't rub it. Don't use one of those vibrating massagers on it. And don't apply a hot compress thinking it will soothe the ache. Think of that clot again as a fragile pile of rubble in a river. The last thing you want to do is start shaking it, kneading it, or heating it, as this could encourage a piece to break free and travel through your bloodstream. The Mayo Clinic explicitly warns against this. Just leave the leg completely alone. Don't even prop it up at this point. Just keep it still. Step 2. Call your doctor's office immediately, now. If it's after hours, a holiday, or the weekend, go directly to an urgent care center or the emergency room. This is not something that can wait for your regular checkup next Tuesday. This is a today thing, a right now thing. When you call or when you arrive, you need to use a very specific phrase. It is the key that unlocks the right door and gets you immediate attention. Say these exact words. I have sudden, one-sided calf swelling and warmth. That phrase is a recognized medical alert. It's like saying, I smell smoke instead of something smells a little funny. It cuts through all the noise and tells the medical staff precisely what your concern is, triggering the correct protocol. They will take it very, very seriously. Try. Say that specific phrase out loud once, right now, to an empty room. I have sudden, one-sided calf swelling and warmth. Just saying it once puts the words in your mouth, making them much easier to find and use if you're ever in a stressful moment and need them to advocate for yourself or a loved one. Section 11. Be smart, not scared. Your body is a master communicator. It spends its entire life sending you signals, thousands upon thousands of them every single day. A hunger pang is a signal to eat. Feeling tired is a signal to rest. A simple, fleeting muscle cramp that goes away is just a signal too. But a cramp that stays for hours, that comes with visible swelling on only one side of your body, that is tender to the touch, and that feels distinctly warm when you compare it to the other side, that's a different class of message altogether. That's a smoke alarm blaring, not the gentle chime of a kitchen timer. This isn't about becoming anxious and worrying about every little ache and twinge. That's no way to live a full and happy life. This is about learning to recognize the very specific combination of signs that truly matters. It's about knowing the difference between your car's low washer fluid light and its flashing red check engine light. Both are signals, but one is a suggestion for later, and the other is an urgent command for now. You are your own best health advocate. Nobody on this planet knows your body better than you do. You know its quirks, you know its history, you know what feels normal. Now you know what combination of signs to look for that is abnormal, you know why it's happening, and you know exactly what to do and say. That knowledge isn't meant to be scary. That knowledge is power. It's the tool that allows you to act decisively and protect yourself. Try. Just take a moment. Put one hand on your chest and feel the steady, reliable rhythm of your breathing. Feel it rise and fall. Silently thank your body. It works incredibly hard for you day in and day out, running this impossibly complex machine without your conscious input. Learning to listen to it when it sends a clear, specific warning is the best possible way to take care of it in return.